Hello everyone, welcome to the Phantom Zone, and thank you so much for joining us as always. Today is a big day and we're feeling the Aster because we will be covering the latest season of Young Justice, Season 4, Phantoms. And once again, thank you for joining us as always. Young Justice has come a long way from the Cartoon Network in 2010 to HBO Max in 2021, and the show is very excited to remind you of that. While Season 3 got a lot of flack for trying to be a little too different from the show that it had been, Season 4 wants to just be your best buddy again. The intro shows off the new and better than ever designs of our heroes while reminding us just how far we've come from the first day at the Hall of Justice. All while Young Justice Season 1 theme Epic Version plays us in. And in that spirit, I would like to really briefly look back on what this series has done for my channel in a very short time. When I posted my review of Season 1 around Christmas time, I could have never guessed that it would be as popular as it was, and I've had a fantastic time covering this series with y'all. I am still a small YouTuber, but I was a hell of a lot smaller one before I started reviewing Young Justice, so thank you. We'll have plenty of time for me to be emotional though during this, so let's just get started.
No way! Today is the day!
Young Justice Season 4 is broken up into 6 different arcs, 4 of which kinda act as their own stories which help set up the final 2, while those final 2 act more as an interconnected finale rather than 2 separate arcs. This more structured approach to the season was definitely the right move to make. Young Justice's biggest overall problem has probably been too wide a scope, although it has its own issues that will have us feeling the mode later. And I have a feeling that many people who will be watching this video may not have actually seen Young Justice Season 4 Phantoms. Season 3, Outsiders, burned a lot of people with its handling of the return to the beloved series. So while I really try to never go into enough plot detail to sour watching something for my audience, I want to give a very clear spoiler warning before going into this. The season starts with M'gann and Connor about to make a trip to M'gann's family on Mars as they are putting the final touches on the preparations for their wedding. The romance between M'gann and Connor has always been one of my favorite elements of the show. From all the way back in Season 1 when she first helped him open up to her, the team, and eventually the entire world. This being the first arc is a brilliant way to start the season. It reestablishes where M'gann and Connor, who have really ended up being the beating heart of this show, plus Beast Boy and Martian Manhunter, are at. It also introduces us to some of the best world building across the entire series. We've already heard about the prejudices Green Martians hold for whites from Miss Martian on Mars called the Garoon and Aashen. So whites are the oppressed ones. Just like real life. Tensions were already bad enough between the Martian races a decade ago when Miss Martian fled to Earth and joined the team. Now, as M'gann and Connor arrive, the planet is on the verge of full-out racial warfare. This feels like a plot point the series has really earned and is once again a great way to start the season. Miss Martian's gradual acceptance of her white Martian heritage, starting from her terror that her closest friends would find out about her true form, and now leading to her best battle design ever in Season 4, sets us up perfectly for this storyline on Mars. M'gann and her family make this arc work fantastically and even enhance the entire season. Her parents, a Garoon mother and Aashen father, who among their 29 children had 27 Garoon, including M'gann's closest sister Emery, which the rest were thankful for, M'gann and her baby brother Macomb. Macomb, introduced in Season 3, although I better call him by his preferred name, Ma'alafa'ak, before he fucking brain nukes me, is one of my favorite villains of the season. M'gann's little brother, who I will continue to call Macomb for one reason, Macomb, Ma'alafa'ak. Once hid behind his big sister, she protected and cared for him in the same way we see her do for the team. But when she took the stowaway voyage to Earth, she left Macomb alone to hurt and be made a pariah by his own family. Macomb and the suffering of countless Aashen like him have brought Mars to a boiling point, with Macomb and an alliance with Darkseid raising the temperature. Not only do the voice actors for both McComm and McGann, Ben Diskin and Danica McKellar respectively, make us believe both of their pains.
I was a child, and you were my rock. You should have protected me! Instead, you traded me in for a cute little green beast boy.
I was a child too.
McComm manifests that pain in a gene bomb that will wipe out all but the Aashen, the White Martians, which he cryptically warns McGann about.
You can say goodbye to Mom and tell Dad I'm sorry.
But while the bomb fails to bring about the genocide, it leaves a much more personal wound on our characters and the audience. Connor dies just before the wedding doing his job as Superboy. He destroys the bomb, but a kryptonite payload combined with the conditions of the Red Planet
No. No.
Connor!
McGann, wait! The virus!
kill him. We're not going to go into this much depth on every arc, but not only is this one of the most character-driven arcs of the season, which I prefer to talk about, it's also one of the best. Connor's death leaves a deep scar on the series and our characters, who nearly all blame themselves in one way or another. From Superman wishing he had been there faster, to Beast Boy not going down there with him, to McGann angry at herself that she had ever let him love her. The way this series and this season especially handles grief is gutting and real. Tula, Jason, Wally, even spouses of heroes like Joan Garrick and now Connor have all passed. One of the best creative choices this season makes is with the end caps for each episode, acting as their own mini-scenes. Sometimes they set up side plots, flesh out the world building, and sometimes they just rip your fucking soul out. The death of Connor drives much of the season and devastated me beyond all belief. Of all of the characters that I thought they would kill off at this point, I honestly would have never guessed Connor. But then, I consulted my ancient tablet of story arc and breathed a sigh of relief.
You'll be back. Of course I'll be back.
This arc is fantastic, and while the season may not keep up this level of quality for the entire run, the next arc is even better. Now, while I did really like this spacebound storyline, stuff on Earth has always been more my thing. I'm kinda like carbon-based life in that way. So a storyline between Artemis, her longtime foe, and even longer-time sister Jade Wen, better known as Cheshire, and the League of Shadows is right up my crime alley. The Shadows arc is a tight-paced game of cat and mouse double and triple agents, with Cassandra Savage, the daughter of Vandal, introduced in Season 3, attempting to infiltrate the team. Artemis reminisces and reflects on her life, particularly her relationship with her sister, as she assists them in bringing light to the shadows. This arc represents some of the best of all of Young Justice there is. A well-plotted mystery interspersed with excellent character work and development for new and beloved characters like Cassandra Cain, better known as Orphan. Topped off with neon action and Artemis using her love of literature to flavor the arc with inspiring, insightful, and heartbreaking monologues.
I see the lives for which I lay down my life. Peaceful, useful, prosperous, and happy. I see that I hold a sanctuary in their hearts, and in the hearts of their descendants, generations hence. I see her, an old woman, weeping for me on the anniversary of this day. It is a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done. It is a far, far better rest that I go to than I have ever known. Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities.
This arc also has some of the most fun villains we get to see, as that's a category I actually find Season 4 slightly lacking in compared to the others. But here we get the deadliest woman on the planet, Lady Shiva, and Black Spider, as voiced by the spectacular Spider-Man, Josh Keaton. The arc-by-arc nature of this season does really well at giving us stories like the Wedding on Mars and the Shadows Subterfuge, that's a fun name for it, but it does really struggle to give us those overarching stories that the previous seasons of Young Justice have excelled at. Garfield's struggle against depression, or the Beast Boy breakdown, that's a fun name for it, is probably the biggest victim of this. While it has high highs like his hallucinations on Mars, the therapy session with Black Canary, and his depressingly hilarious intervention,
You think I'm gonna sit back and let you lock your brain away in this premier building jar? Well, you got another thing coming, kid.
You came back from the dead to give that speech?
it also has long periods where it feels like things aren't going anywhere for any of the characters, and too much of the healing is done off-screen, while the suffering is done on it. An overarching storyline the series deals with much better, however, is the time-bending battle between Lord Zod and the Legion of Superheroes.
Long story short, I entered the astral realm. I came here 4 years ago, and I'm from another universe. Time travelers tried to kill me in my old body. Now in this body, you'll realize I vibrate when I get really fucking angry. I also...
Season 4, Phantoms, takes a break away from the ongoing threat of the light and ends up kind of neglecting them, but we'll get to that later. Lord Zod, son of the notorious General Zod, is attempting a prison break on his old man before Zod even knows he exists. Trapped in the Phantom Zone, if Zod and his comrades were to escape to a world with a yellow sun no less, they could be a galactic holocaust. Just 3 members of the Legion of Superheroes, the Justice League of the 31st century, must stop Lord Zod without damaging the time stream. This mystery unfolding to us and to our characters as the season progresses is a great reminder of what Young Justice has always done fantastically: give us an entire new corner of the DC universe and weave it into this story. But our heroes get tangled up in this battle of time heists and dimensional prison breaks with their mission to save their friend. To save Connor Kent. The first time our heroes suspect that Connor may be alive is in the 3rd arc with Zatanna. I mean, I kinda figured he was during the 1st arc, and I mean, I'm not saying I'm smarter than all of these characters, and I also love Superboy more than them, but I am getting this shirt made. Zatanna gets to lead a mystical storyline, and honestly, it is so much better than I thought it was gonna be. I really like Zatanna, especially her storyline between herself, her father, and Dr. Fate we've been seeing her battle through since Season 1, but I was really worried about this. I like magic, I do, but if you explain it too much, or don't make it scary enough, or make it too British...
Y'all take it easy, I'm out.
But this arc finds a pretty nice balance. While some elements like Zatanna's proteges are a little boring, albeit well-meaning, they make this an engaging battle of chaos, with the return of Clarion and the introduction of a new Chaos Lord, Child.
Was my scream convincing? I tried to put a little of what the humans call oomph into it.
Clarion being put up for execution essentially for being a complete boy failure loser man is hilarious, and a perfect progression of his character. While this arc doesn't reach the emotional highs of the death of Superboy or Artemis's prose, Clarion gets an adorable new kitten, and we are introduced to characters like Etrigan. I've always had a soft spot for the poetic demon, although he really should be rhyming more in this. And interesting heroes I haven't seen much of, like Mary Marvel. And while I grew to like the medical magician Khalid, I never found the same affection for 13. Bad luck. But the arc leaves off on a great note, with Zatanna putting Fate in a position to free her father save 1 week of the month. What great adventures are next, I wonder? Man, I hate Atlantis. Y'all, I don't know what it is, but there is just something about the way that Atlantis and all other related sunken cities is portrayed like 9 times out of 10 in DC that is just so uninteresting to me. It just feels so bland. It doesn't feel like a civilization that exists underwater. It just feels like I'm watching Shakespeare, but underwater. And this is not Shakespeare. While I do like Calder and team's underwater mission, it's really telling that my favorite parts of the arc were when we were not dealing with the main plot. I already do not have a particular care for prophecies in stuff. I think basing characters' actions on them believing a rhyme from several millennia ago is stupid, and the whole arc is about who deserves to be the monarch of Atlantis, who shall sit upon the golden throne and command the armies of Poseidonus. How about none of you? Fuck the monarchy, baby. I especially do not care about prophecies when they determine who should get to be king or queen, because whoever gets it, I'm gonna want to murder. The storyline between Ocean Master, the Light, and the royal family is pretty boring. That is until... But just as quickly as Ocean Master is booted from the series, the Light goes the same way. But this low point for the season is quickly brought right back up with the finale to Young Justice Phantoms. While the arc-by-arc design of the season makes it difficult for the season to build story momentum early on and especially through the middle of the season, the final 9 episodes more or less flowing into each other makes it feel much faster paced. Rocket has a storyline leading negotiations between the Justice League, the New Gods, and the Green Lantern Corps. I love the New Gods, and this arc only made me love them more, while I am pretty devastated that we still haven't gotten any Mr. Miracle and hardly any Big Barda since they are my personal favorites. I had a really good time getting to like Orion more, as he's a character I haven't really connected with as much. Rocket has a very emotionally poignant storyline with her trying to balance leading the life and raising a child with autism. When I first heard the shrieks, I was a little worried we'd be getting into an autism superpower situation and Rocket's son would be able to, integrate with a mother box, but no. Young Justice always does really well to show us that these heroes deal with the exact same problems people in our world deal with, and Rocket can't just put her boy in a bubble. I'm really happy that Rocket and Zatanna finally got the respect they deserve as real members of the team alongside the rest of them, but... poor Dick. While every original member of the team who is still with us gets their own storyline, Calder's burnout being one of the more well-written ones behind McGann and Artemis, Dick kinda gets left out to dry. Again, at this point, I really just don't think this series knows what to do with Nightwing. I don't think they've known what to do with him really at all since Season 1. In Season 2, he was the video game merchant. Last season, he got to do a little more with the Outsiders, and here he is basically absent until it's time to find a detective. And Batman isn't around, so Superboy is also in a bit of a strange place this season. It's called the Phantom Zone. It's very weird. While I like him working through his past to save Phantom Girl, once he starts pushing Z, I think he gets a lot less interesting. I really like the prison break storyline for the finale. It's much more interesting than having the villains brainwash the Justice League again. But I've been thinking about it, pondering in the living death of the Phantom Zone, and so much of a prison break storyline's emotional core relies on the prisoner wanting to get out, that a brainwashed Connor really takes the fun out of it. But Zod and his forces coming to Earth with the help of Lore Zod, Macomb, the Kaiser Thrall, and a new Genesean Mantis is a very exciting finale. McGann finally finds the perfect balance between the kind, caring Martian girl we met 10 years ago, and the brutal war criminal of Rand, sentencing her brother to eternity in the Phantom Zone. While Connor reasserts the core theme of any battle with General Zod, that Superman and Superboy are from Earth, and not Krypton. And above all, McGann and Connor truly reconnect.
Hi.
Hi.
This whole thing made me cry so much. Connor's story of going from a living weapon, believing himself to be nothing more than his mission to kill Superman, to not only accepting Clark as his brother, but John as his nephew and the Kents as his parents, is beautiful. And McGann and him finally getting married is a wonderful conclusion to the over a decade I've lived with this show. Without Young Justice, not only would my channel not be as big as it is now, but I don't know if I would be doing this at all. However, I really don't think that this should be it for the series. While there are moments that tie it all together, like the attendance of Icicle Jr., it doesn't feel like a definitive end for the series. The finale teases Black Mary, a newly villainous Mary Marvel, along with Supergirl, plus I really want to see Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, the best New Gods characters of all time, and the Light deserves at least one more honest try at galactic domination. So I might be coming back after a little while for a video on what I would like to see from a Young Justice Season 5, but I've got to cover another DC show first. Young Justice Season 4 Phantoms is another solid superhero story from the show. I absolutely recommend you check it out if you're a Young Justice fan, especially since it sets up for another, hopefully really fun season. But that is the video for this week, y'all. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Hey everyone, as always, thank you so much for watching that video. If you made it to this point, a special double thank you. Thank you so much as always. I have really loved covering Young Justice. I can't believe I've seen all of the Young Justice that there has been to see now. It hasn't been this way for me since before Season 3 came out, really. Besides, like, for a few weeks there when I was watching Season 3 week to week. But, yeah, I've had a great time covering it. It's helped my channel so much. I'm really excited to get to talk about more DC stuff, because I love DC, like I say in, like, every one of these videos. What I have to show for my collection this week, though, is actually not something DC related, because I don't really have anything, like, Young Justice related at all. Sometimes I just like to show off a DC comic I like in this section, but what I thought I would show off instead is Soul Eater, the Perfect Edition, volume 13 here. This is the second to last volume of Soul Eater that I have to read. Well, I've read this one. It's fantastic. I have one more that I've got to read, and then I'm all done with Soul Eater. And I bring this up not for any video-related reasons. Obviously, I would never want to make a video on Soul Eater. Only a moron with issues would do that. So, that's not me. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.